ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ। ਪੰਜਾਂ ਤਖਤਾਂ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਕੇ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ। ਪ੍ਰਥਮ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਚਿਤ ਆਵੇ, ਚਿਤ ਆਵਣ ਕਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਸਰਬ ਸੁਖ ਹੋਵੇ। ਜਹਾਂ ਜਹਾਂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਕਹਾਂ ਕਹਾਂ ਰਚਿਆ ਜਾਏ ਗੁਰੂ। ਤੇਗ ਤੇਗ ਫਤਿਹ, ਜਗਤੀ ਪੈਜ ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਜੀ।
Muna. Muna. Muna.
ਕੱਢ ਲੈ
Muna.
ਕੱਢ ਲੈ
Muna. Muna kata. Muna kata. Muna kata.
Hi class, good evening, good evening.
No.
So we start now, I guess. Most of you have joined, who wants to be in the class. Good evening, everyone. So welcome. We will have these classes in this week only, and we will be done in this by maybe by Friday or Thursday. Yeah. So we'll be done with this quality insurance then. So let's start the class. Today we're going to discuss about advertising and promotion. That how, according to FDA, Food and Drug Act, according to them, how should be the regulations of the advertisement. So, according to this Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, the main section according to 201K, the term label means a display of written, printed, or graphic matter upon the immediate container of any article. Yeah, in section 201(1), the term immediate container does not include package liners. Then definitions under the Act, section 201(m), the term labeling means all the labels under written, printed, or graphic matter on any article or any of its containers or wrappers. Second, accompanying such articles. Then statute does not define advertising specifically. Then drug regulatory definition. So students, this chapter, it will be more about, as in, this is not explanatory things in it. No, there are some things that I could explain, but this is very subjective subject in which we will be discussing all the criterias, all the things about uh, all the laws that are governing regarding the advertising and promotion. So first, 21 CFR 202.1. Believe me, they will be very important for you in future or in any company you will be working in, because based on that everything will be governed there. So according to this, advertisement subject to section 502 of the Act include advertisements in published journal, magazines or other periodicals, newspapers, and advertisements broadcast through media such as radio, television, telephone, communication system. Then labeling, brochures, booklets, mailing pieces, detailing pieces, file cards, bulletins, calendars, price list, catalogs, all these are included in this labeling part. And according to section 201N, if article is alleged to be misbranded because the labeling or advertising is misleading, then in determining whether the labeling or advertisement is misleading, they should be taken into the account later on. So who has the jurisdiction? So it depends upon type of product, drug, biological or device, nature, household and prescription drug, biologics and restricted devices, OTC drugs and restricted devices, medium by which information was disseminated, advertising and labeling. Who has jurisdiction? Prescription drugs and biologics, so labeling FDA, advertising FDA, then restricted devices, labeling FDA, advertising FDA, and OTC drugs, labeling FDA, and advertising Federal Trade Commissions. Then comes unrestricted devices, dietary supplements, and cosmetics. So we will discuss all these parts, prescription drugs and biologics, restricted devices, how the labeling and advertisement is dealt, OTC drugs, unrestricted devices, dietary supplements, and cosmetics. So we will deal all with these parts. So jurisdiction, snapshot. So here we can see labeling, advertising, and internet. So RX drugs or biologics, OTC drugs, restricted devices, unrestricted devices, so FDA, 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 all of them, and FDA, FTC, FDA, FTC, FDA, FDA, FTC, FDA, FDA, FTC. For internet, is it labeling or advertising? So it's depend upon the who is watching them. So FDA has asserted that regarding as labeling websites for products as OTC drugs or dietary supplements, agency does not have jurisdictions over the advertising. So Federal Trade Commission, so unfair or deceptive acts or practices affecting the commerce are prohibited. Section 12 of FTCA, false advertisement for food, drugs, devices and services are prohibited. So basics, drugs and biologics. So statutory duties. So section 502, drug or device shall be deemed to be misbranded if 52A, 52E, 52F, 52N labeling is false, lack established name, adequate directions for use, or their drugs advertising misbranded. Yeah, so 52N. So other descriptive matter is written there. Formula quantitatively, each ingredient is not written there. Information in brief is not there. So all these things matters a lot when you're gonna see your drug that you're having. So all the information need to be very precise and very nicely in it. Then in the basic devices, the first is restricted devices, the misbranding that could possible according to section 502Q. In the case of any restricted device distributed or offered for sale in any state, it is advertising, it is false or misleading or any in particular. So it is sold, distributed or used in violation of regulations prescribed under section 52E of this title. So brief statement for restricted devices, section 502 advertising. So device is misbranded unless the manufacturer, packer or distributor thereof includes an all. So a true statement of the device established name as defined in subsection of this printed prominently in type of at least half as large as that used for any trade or brand name thereof. Then section 502 device brief statement, which is intended to use of devices in relevant warnings, precautions, side effects and contradictions. So in case of specific devices made subjects to a finding by Secretary Office after notice and opportunity for comment that such action is necessary. Then prescription drugs regulation according to the rule 21 CFR 2021. So ingredient listing. So fanciful name for a drug or ingredient can't be used if it implies a unique effectiveness or composition when the drug or ingredient is a common substance whose limits are known. Can't feature inert, inactive ingredients in an ad in manner that creates an impression of value greater than their true functional role. Can't use a proprietary name for a drug or ingredients that might confuse it for the another drug or ingredient proprietary name. So established name and usage, established name of drug. So shall accompany such proprietary name or designation each time it is featured in the advertisement for the drug, but except as provided below in this subparagraph. So running text requirements on any page of advertisements in which proprietary name or designation is not featured. So it might be using in the running text. Or we can use large size tab or establishing name usage. So you can use some columnar text some in that part. Some other requirements like non-running text permissions or a company to use association with the proprietary name or designation. So according to the established name usage guidance January 2012, so product name, size, prominence in advertising and promotional labeling. So this is the whole link that has been produced in 2012. It's pretty 8 to 9 years old, but it's very useful also. So proprietary name like this are registered trademark or so on. Then when required per 21 CFR 202 1E all advertisement for any human or veterinary prescriptions drug shall present. So true statement of information in brief summary relating to side effects, contradictions and effectiveness. Then comes the major side effects and contradictions and unless adequate provisions into them. So in brief summary, to exempt ads, so reminder ads only contain proprietary name, can't contain other written or printed graphical matter, not available with the drugs or boxed warnings or labels, or they see possible effectiveness. Bulk sale drugs, right? So advertisement of bulk sale drugs that promote sale of drugs in bulk packages in accordance with the practice of the trade solely to processed, manufactured, label or repackage in substantial quantities that contain no claims for the therapeutic safety or effectiveness of the drug. Then advertisement of prescription compounding drugs. So advertisement that promote sale of a drug for use as a prescription chemical or other compound for use by the registered pharmacist in compounding prescriptions. And brief summary satisfying the rule. If drug has more than one purpose, can limit it to single purpose, which then limits the brief summary requirements for addressing that purpose. So information relating to the effectiveness shall include specific indications for use of the drug for purpose claimed in the advertisement. Must disclose each specific side effects and contradictions also within that thing, and also disclose side effects in terms of in the, like, if the blood dyscrasius or disclosure of leukopenia or granulocytosis, neutropenia. So all these need to be addressed in that part. So when a brief summary is not a true statement, it is false or misleading as to side effects, contradictions, or effectiveness. It fails to present a fair balance between information relating to side effects and contradiction versus effectiveness. So in the information relating to effectiveness, it is presented in great scope, depth, or detail. And this information is not fairly balanced by the presentation of a summary or true information relating to the side effects and contradiction of the drugs. Yeah. So in violating ads, so brief summary regarding 21 CFR 2021 details ads like false, lacking in fair balance, otherwise misleading. This has to be taken care. So let's look at the R violating ads in details. So violating ads which are not approved, which are not permitted for use in the labeling. So that drug is better, more effective. They contain drug comparisons. Favorable information is written on them. Literature references or quotations are been demonstrated by the substantial evidence. Suggestions that a drug is safer than it has been demonstrated to be substantial evidence. Present information from a study in a way that implies that study represents large or more general experience with the drug that it actually does. So some of these are statements that are under the violating ads. Just go through all of them. So yeah, other drug advertising regulatory duties. So according to 21 CFR 312.7, promotion of investigational new drug. So a sponsor or investigator or any person acting on behalf of a sponsor or investigator shall not represent in promotional context that an investigational new drug is safe, effective for the purposes for which it is under investigation, or otherwise promote the drug. So this provision is not intended to restrict the full exchange of scientific information concerning the drug, including dissemination of scientific findings in scientific or lay media. Reporting NDA drugs to FDA. So other reporting like advertisement, promotional labeling. So applicants shall submit specimens of mailing species and any other labeling or advertisement device for promotion of the drugs products at the time of initial dissemination of the labeling, at the time of initial publication of the advertisement for a prescriptional drug product. So these are some forms 2253 when you have to approved for the advertisement and promotional labeling for drugs and biologics for the human use. The proprietary name, established name, package insert date, manufacturer name, reviewed by, date, returned. Then here we have to write the promotional labeling material, material type, yeah, publication date, applicant material ID code and description, comments then written on there. Then yeah. So proper, very nice form, a very nice way to represent your 21 CFR 314.81. So all the laws, if you see, they are all under this 21 CFR, 20 CFR. Then there is a code in front of them, and the sub codes are written there according to the FDA thing. So that is very common so far. If we have seen it, pretty much common in most of the forms that have been seen under the FDA. Then 21 CFR 601.12 F4. To remember them, you really need to have at least um, five almonds in the morning. Very, very important, yeah. So advertisement and promotional labeling shall be submitted to the Center for Biologics Evolution Research or Center for Drug Evolution and Research in accordance with the requirements set forth in 314.81. Then uses 2253 e-filing draft guidance, all these have been taken care. Then accelerated approval advertisement, so submission prior to approval, intended for dissemination or publication within 120 days following marketing approval, and after 120 days following marketing approval is taken care. So device advertising, general requirements if you want to advertise your devices. So marketed devices, no separate device advertising regulation. Center for Devices and Radiological Health compared to its drug counterparts, relatively inactive in ad enforcement. Then device advertising, warning letters just 19 between 2001 to 2013. So these are the warning letters have been published. You can check them with various descriptions. Then pre-approval promotion, that is pending 510K, may advertise or exhibit provided the precise regulatory status, may not take orders, may not make safety or effectiveness claims. Pre-approval promotions pending 510K for restricted device cannot compare to another product's description, must be fairly balanced, no safety or effectiveness claims. Pre-approval devices under IDE, so 21 CFR 812.7, prohibition of promotion, a sponsor, investigator or person acting on behalf of sponsor shall not promote or test market, commercialize an IDE device or represent an IDE device for the purpose of which it is being studied. Announce availability of devices only in medical or scientific publications at medical or scientific conferences. State purpose is only to recruit investigators and not to make device generally available. Limit information in notice of availability of device, propose use, name and address, use direct mail to solicit qualified investigators, and so on. So device which are intended use, ordinary intended use is determined by the reference to labeling or promotional claims only in rare cases. So issues like relative to off-label promotion issues can inhibit off-label use via statute or including 510K. So subparagraph may require a statement in labeling that provides appropriate information regarding a use of the device not identified in the proposed labeling if provided an opportunity. So such determination shall be provided to the person who submitted the report within the 10 days. The responsibilities of director under this subparagraph may not be delegated. Then presenting risk informations according to 2009 draft guidance. So presenting risk information in prescription drug and medical device promotion. Main purposes to factors FDA regards are as relevant to adequacy of disclosure of risk information for prescription drugs and restricted devices. Key factors, net impression message communicated by all elements of the PCs as whole. Yes, there are some examples written here, like a broadcast television ad for cholesterol lowering drug, containing a factually accurate audio risk statement that discloses the drug major side effects and contraindications. So this audio presentation is accompanied by quick scene changes showing comfort visual images of patients benefiting from the drug. So it is also accompanied by the loud upbeat music. So in this case, the audio disclosure may not adequately communicate risk because of the accompanying discordant visual and distracting music. So in this way, people are making things, fooling the audience. Some more examples. General considerations communicating then consistent use of language appropriate for target audience. Use of signaling also, written relates to formatting, broadcast, general rule and so on. And text must be balanced as well as to substance. Changes in voice, in video, audio can be used to help signals switch to risk information. Framing risk information, vague versus specific, positive versus negative. Framing, general considerations in communicating is framing risk information and hierarchy of risk informations, how we order it, how we play with them. So quantity should be balanced in risk versus benefit info. Materiality and comprehensiveness has to be taken care. So quantity, print space, broadcast time, number of statements. Materiality and comprehensiveness has to be taken care. A balanced risk versus benefit presentations can be misleading by omitting material info. So material facts are the ones that influence a person about products, such as properties of a product, whether product is appropriate or not. Target audience consideration is critical to determine what risk info to include. Then HCP, most critical info about product to allow them to decide if a product is appropriate for patients and how safely you can use it. Then materiality and comprehensiveness, importance of package insert, highlights, format labeling includes the most important risk. Order labeling, focus on contradictions, warnings or hazards. Box warnings clearly. And then nature of benefit claims that it does. Format considerations, it should be print and broadcast nicely. General rules are risk and benefit information should be comparably formatted as to noticeably conspicuousness also. Format considerations, so print considerations, key is balance. Separating risk and benefit can lead to lack of prominence, and 2 pages of benefit before any risk. Should be comparable as well as for the risk versus benefit info. Contrast in text formatting of benefit versus risk. So evidence need to support these claims. So standard, adequate and well controlled clinical trials need to be there. Comparative claims and not acceptable ones are post hoc analysis and meta-analysis. Secondary endpoints, define endpoints measures, criteria for statistical analysis, and composite endpoints also need to be taken care. So that's it for the advertising and promotions. So in this, mainly the things that were governing was that these are the following rules that somebody wants to advertise their pharmaceutical products, they cannot advertise just like that way. They have these following rules. It's a like law book, I can say, this presentation, which you have to follow each rules in order to make sense. And if you are not following these things, taking care of what you say, following the rules, it might be problematic for the drugs that you're gonna come into the market. So it was straightforward. These laws, you have to follow them if you want to bring your products into the market. Otherwise, it might be tangential for everyone. So cool students, so I just want to make this one lecture today. So we had done the 4 lectures so far, so they are total 9. Maybe we will do 2 lectures in one day, and then by Thursday we will be done with all lectures. So you can submit your review articles. If you have not done, then start working on it. So in this week, so thank you very much for being there quickly on time. Sorry, last week I was busy with my family thing. So after the lockdown, my brother came and everyone was there. So we were just having some good time. Yeah. So anyhow, wish you all good evening. Then take care. Good night. Bye bye.